Hi, I'm Rebecca, and welcome to my podcast, Smashing Through with Rebecca.x. I am so excited you're here on this episode. Topics include life, business, mindset, full of kick-ass content and high energy. Enjoy the podcast, and remember, you too can smash through and keep going always. Surrender. What I mean by that is you really need to surrender everything. All the toxicity, the feelings, the emotions, the anxiety, the overwhelm. When you're up against an issue, okay, when you realise you're not in charge of it, all right? So outside influences can affect everything. People, places, situations, all of this, okay? But we can't control everything. We're not in charge of absolutely everything, right? So what you need to do is release and let go and just surrender to the situation and let it flow. Let it play out. I always say that. Just let it play out. Just surrender to the possibility that any possibilities showing up, okay? Because you can't operate everything. You are not, Santa steering the reindeer around. You only have power and control over what you can control, which is your emotions, your mindset. You can really up level, anything like that. And to go into the, amazing stage of empowerment and actually, awakening and all of that, sometimes we have to surrender and just release and let go and go, do you know what? Just let it play out. Let's see what happens, And that in itself is really powerful because, sometimes you can't get around it. So I remember when my mum came home from the hospital and she'd been to see the doctor and he had given her bad news and he had told her she had 3 to 6 months to live. And when she got home and I was sat in the living room and she sat both me and her husband down and told us, it was like in that moment it's like, I can't do anything. Okay. So the first thing Mum did after sharing that news of I've got 3 to 6 months to live, the first thing she said was, I won't celebrate my birthday, her next birthday. In my head, I was like, right, how can we slow it down? What are we going to do? What can we do? Because if ever I'm given an issue or a problem, the way my brain works is that I find a solution. I have to find a solution. But the reason why I'm sharing it is that as the days and weeks and months went by, surrendering to the point, and I want to share, and I'll probably get upset as I share this, is that you've got to surrender to the fact that your mum is going to pass away. There is nothing you can do. You can't save her. You can't do anything. There's literally nothing you can do. So you've just got to let it play out and really live every single day as precious as it is, because it is. And surrendering and just letting everything flow is really a powerful act to do. So that's why I'm encouraging you to do it, because you can't get around it. A terminal illness, death of a loved one, anything that's catastrophic, anything that is out of this world, wow. And it's like you can't control it. So what can you do? Well, I helped Mum to be in as less pain as possible. I was giving her, hand massages if she said yes to the Oromorph, and if she said no, then obviously she didn't have it. She was in control of that. She still wanted to be in control of certain things. But, for a daughter to actually realise the one person who's a constant, the one person who has been there throughout everything, the entire 42 years of my life at that point. And I surrendered to the fact, not the possibility of, but the fact that my mum is going to pass away. So let's see what we can do to slow it down, to actually extend. But I did start to grieve. I was in the grieving process before she even passed away, because I was losing that one person in my life. My mum and my nan raised me, okay? And my nan had already passed away years before that, you know. So at that point where you know you're not in control, you actually have to know, and I want to reiterate this to you. You're not giving up, you're not quitting, you're not failing, you're not kind of rolling over and it's just you're seeing it as it is, especially terminal illness, you know, palliative care, things like that. Just surrender when you're up against an issue, when you realise you're not in control, you're not in charge, certain things. But for things that you can control, that you can take action and do something about, go and do it, which is my other flip side of surrender, okay? But, you know, it really is incredible for you to take the stress off your shoulders when you can surrender and release and let go of all the stress, all the drama, all the chaos, all the negativity, thinking that you've got to save the day and everything else, and you've got to do this, and, you know, because the amount of stress that then is in your body, in your head, it affects you, okay? So surrendering doesn't mean you're quitting, you're failing, you're giving up or anything. And on the flip side as well, if you're surrendering to the point, you know, that you keep going around in circles in a job, maybe with a business, with clients, with in a relationship, whatever, you will get to a point where the light bulb moment sparks and the light bulb's on full beam, and you're like, do you know what? Yeah, I'm done. I don't want to sell this product anymore. Don't want to do this service anymore. Don't want to be in this relationship anymore. Don't want to be in this job, in this toxic environment anymore. I'm done. And you'll know when you get to that point, and you've not quit or failed or stopped or rolled over or anything. You've just surrendered to the point that you've gone above and beyond. You've done everything you can, and you're not just giving up or quitting, but you've gone above and beyond, you know. And I think there's a very big difference between that and quitting, failing, and just going, oh, well, you know, I'm giving up, blah, 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 blah. You've got to give it a good shot, you know what I mean, with everything that you do. But especially with terminal illness or death or anything like that, you do have to process, you do have to navigate, you do have to surrender and go, do you know what? You know, let's do the last few days or weeks or months or whatever. Yeah, let's see what we can pack in, what we can do, how many memories we can make and create, and all of this. And from that date of my mum being told that information, it was the 21st of December 2020. She passed away on the 11th of April. So she did get over the 3-month mark, but not quite to the 4-month mark, should we say, of obviously the news actually was given 3 to 6 months. So, you know, it is all about where you're at, where your head's at. But I encourage you to know that with certain things, when you're up against an issue and you're not in control, just come back to yourself, do the inner work, do the inner mindset work, do whatever you need to do in order to release and let go, wish people well, whatever they're doing, and then move forward with what you're doing, because there's only so much energy you can give to a certain person, scenario, situation, all of this, before it starts affecting you, okay? And that's not being selfish, it's just knowing that you're at the point where you realise that you need to move past this. So to go into the awakening stage of things, of enlightenment and, you know, everything, you need to get through the surrender section first so that you can align with whatever's next. Okay, so that's my message for today. Sorry if I got you upset with the story that I was sharing today about mum, but, you know, life happens, and reality is we do have to go through situations we don't want to go through. We do have to navigate, but it helps us to get bigger, better, bolder, wiser, stronger, that we can actually help other people as well. So I'm sending you lots of love, and I'll see you on the next one.